Okay, so here's a chart of Puerto Rico, and we are currently over here. This is us on the west coast in Mayaguez. But this particular video starts us off in a place called Guayanilla, which is on the south coast of Puerto Rico. For those that are familiar, most people are familiar with San Juan, which is up here. If you can see the cursor up here in the upper right hand corner. But we started off down here, and we came out of Guayanilla and we went around everywhere, around the whole island, and beat on the north side up until we got into San Juan. But in this video right here, we're going to be in Guayanilla, and I wanted to show you this. So let me zoom in a little bit here. So if we came in, we're already in there, but there's a channel that comes in like this. This dotted line right there, if you can see that, that's just showing you the entrance there to get in. But anyway, I had met the boat right here. In fact, I can even pull this over. I had crew changed over here, and launch boat brought me out here, and I was feeling a little overwhelmed by all the different paperwork. The job down here, because it involves, we basically have to do a foreign passage between every Puerto Rican port, even though the Puerto Rican ports aren't exactly foreign, and going from one to another. When I say a foreign passage, we have to do a whole bunch of protocols for things like COVID, risk of COVID infection and infecting other people and bringing diseases to the island and that sort of stuff. So there's a series of emails and forms that have to be signed and stamped and approved, and everything from fuel leaving to fuel coming to lining up pilots and lining up assist tugs and all comings and goings. I mean, there's literally hundreds of emails that we have to do. So I was really feeling overwhelmed by that. The good news is that after a day of going over all this paperwork and really feeling out of my element, it was time to bring the boat from here in our anchorage circle. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. We were anchored over here, and we basically just had to go and bring the boat over to this side of the terminal right here. I'm going to pull this over so you can see it a little bit better. There was a ship over here, and we just had to come in around here and land over here. And it was one of those wonderful things where I was really feeling like maybe I had made a bad decision with all the paperwork, and I was just really feeling overwhelmed. Then it was time to actually do the work, and it felt so good just to get behind the controls and run the boat over there and do what I know how to do, and that worked out very well. Well, anyway, after we had loaded, it was time to take the loaded barge out, and so we're gonna, the video is gonna start with us backing up, getting into push gear right here, and backing around, and then stringing it out on the wire, and then outbound for sea. So hope you enjoy it.
Hello and welcome, I'm Tim, and this is TimBatSea Caribbean Edition. Coming to you from the Spanish Main, land of voodoo, hoodoo, and all kind of weird stuff. Sorry, Captain Ron reference. Yeah, so I'm down in Puerto Rico, and I had some audio for this whole thing, but I'm still having trouble getting it all working, and I was working with the other crew, and there was a lot of stuff that we couldn't really play and that sort of stuff. But anyway, we're over in Guayanilla, and right now you see us making up to the barge. So the barge is now loaded, and what I'm doing is I'm backing on a headline, and we've put some slack in it, and I'm coming back here, and as you can see, they're lowering down a what we've done is we've sent up our soft line connected into the pennant to the barge, and we're pulling that in right now. As you can see, the bow line there that's looking forward, the bow line is nice and tight. So I've got that back there, and that's our assist tug, the Don Oscar. He's coming to help us out. Now here's a little shot of us over here. We've now connected the wire. What you see here is a double drum winch. Unlike the winch that I had on the other boat, we have two drums. We have one that has, they both have wire on it, but one has a couple layers of synthetic line on top, we call a soft line. So the drum on the right hand side, or on the, looking at it from the camera this way, but the drum on the port side is what we call the suitcase drum, and the other one that we have a better shot of right here is the wire one there. That's the main wire towing one. And so after we hook up, and right now they're putting in a they've already attached the wire there, but what they have to do is they have to take the suitcase drum off, so that was the one that we hauled everything up to, and then we connected it. And we couldn't just haul that up with the wire, because the wire itself is too heavy for all that. So we haul the pennant on board with the soft line, and then we connect into our thimble and shackle and all that sort of stuff. And you'll see they put a safety cotter pin in there and all that stuff. But anyway, we've disconnected that, pulled the other line out, and I think we're pulling it out right now. Isn't that what they're doing? I have the little preview window so small I can barely see it. I've been trying to buy a new computer for editing, and buying a new computer has become... I thought you used to just go into the store and buy one. And, apparently it doesn't work that way anymore. I gotta order one. There's always a problem. But anyway, we got all set, and... now they're, I think they're getting all ready here. Now what we're going to do is put the soft line back up, but instead of having the soft line connected to the pennant, we use the soft line as a stern line, and we do what we call relaxing the wire, and that's where I put the wire out a little bit and allow the tension on the pennant of the barge to be released. That wire and the pennant should really, it holds a lot of pulling force, but straight, not when it goes around corners. And it has to go over the rail and at a 90-degree angle, and you don't want to put a lot of pressure on it in that the wire's made up with a bunch of strands, and that's how you would break the strands. So after we've got it hauled aboard, then we put up the soft line, and I relaxed the other one. Now you can see I'm taking up on the soft line right now, and that's going to tighten up and hold the stern in, just so we can back off and get away from the dock, and then we'll string this thing out on the wire and we'll be good. Now what the chief is doing right there was he was getting you see that yellow stuff? That's what we call chafe gear. Remember, the synthetic line is stronger than the wire, but it's very prone to chafe. So we have to use chafe gear, which is kind of like a fire hose material that protects the line against chafe and that sort of thing. So I'm thinking that we're all made up here, and then we get everything ready, and now we're going to call in the assist tug to come on in. The guys get up on the barge. The tankermen are already there, but the guys working our deck will get up on barge to help them out. So since I had to throw out all the audio that I had here, what you're probably not hearing me do is going through my steering checks and throttle checks and all that sort of stuff, and making sure everything's ready. Then we call in the assist tug, and he's going to put a line up over here. And what we generally do is we have him work ahead. I'll give him a command of like clutch on 1, and that means that I just want him to be pushing us onto the dock while they start letting the lines go. So that just makes sure that we don't slide one way or the other, and that we're held in place even while the lines come in. So once again, right now you don't see a lot happening, and that's probably because they're taking the lines in. Oh, now I see him backing up, so that must mean we are underway now. So I'm talking, you see the guy there that I'm talking to? That's my relief captain, Captain John. He actually volunteered to work an extra week just to help me out with showing me the new paperwork that I have to do and all that sort of stuff. And he was a big help. So, Captain John, if you're out there, thank you so much. You made life so much better here. It's always nice to have somebody there to kind of hold your hand going through something new. But as I said in the beginning there, it's always, I think, it's human nature to be reluctant to change, and I was really feeling overwhelmed with all the amount of paperwork that we had to do, and it's always nice to get the engines going and start backing up and doing what we do, and it makes you feel good. You're like, yep, you know what, this is why I do this stuff. So good feeling here. Now what I'm doing is there's a big long pier that I think you saw in the beginning of the video there, that I showed you on the chart. So I have to back around that. Now it doesn't look like anything's really happening, but I'm really backing up there. And I have to back out and roll out around there. And right now I'm probably just having the tug flop alongside. There you can see the end of the pier right there as we're coming by there. So now I've probably just told the assist tug that he can come on over and get his line, and we're done with him at this point. So I can just keep backing into the bay. And once again, if I didn't make this clear before, we're made up this way because we know that we're going to tow. We're leaving the port on the south coast of Puerto Rico, and we're going to sail around Puerto Rico clockwise and go across the north shore and go to San Juan. So we're going to be on the wire for a long time. So it kind of made sense to make up on the wire here and then make this kind of loose makeup just so I can back out and then let that loose makeup go and then immediately go on the wire. So it's kind of safer, better. And it's also because, although the crew has done all this before, we haven't worked together as a crew. Those that have been following the channel a while will see a lot of us do things, and sometimes you guys write in the comments that we make it look so easy, and that's only because we're a crew that knows that we're all on the same page, and we've done these plays over and over and over again. The military says that you fight the way you train, and if you keep doing it over and over again, then it just becomes ingrained in your head. Well, that's a luxury that we don't have, because this is literally the first job that I'm doing on this boat, so with this crew. Okay, so Captain John and I are now leaving the upper house. We're going down below and taking over the controls down there in the doghouse. The first thing we have to do is let that soft line go. That was the stern line that we were using because we weren't using the wire because we didn't want that. Then the next thing we're going to do is take in the bow line. Okay, I'm trying to see where we are in the video. Okay, so it looks like the stern line has come in. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to give a little bit of right wheel, start paying out the wire, and do a right twist so that it's going to be like a clockwise twist. So the bow comes in, the stern comes out. A couple things are happening by doing that. One is that I'm bringing the bow in so they can take the bow line off. The other thing that it's doing is it's cracking the stern out so that I can start backing out in front of the barge. Now remember, there's a big 2-inch wire, or maybe it's 2 1/4 inch, I think, on this boat, that's going down right by the propellers. So it's important that if I have that wire tight, the weight of the wire and the tension will pull the tug and barge together. If I have it too loose, I run the risk of catching it on the bottom or also getting it in the propeller. So by doing that right twist, getting out at about a 30-degree angle like I have, now I can back up, and as you can start to see the wire will start to move from where the propellers are to more almost of a midship. And we actually have 2 hooks down there to keep it from going too far up the side of the boat, so that they will stop. But it's important that it's a fine balancing act that you have to do, where you let wire out, and you don't want it so tight that the tension will bring the two of you together, but you don't want it so loose that it'll get on the bottom. And so now that's looking forward as I'm rolling away. I'm backing up away from the barge. Sun's coming up there in beautiful Guayanilla. And now I'm going to start backing out in front of the barge. You wouldn't do this with a lot of way on the barge, or if you were somewhere where there is like a lot of tide, you'd want to get way out in front of it so that you don't get, as you come perpendicular to the barge, you lose your headway, and you don't want the barge to overtake you and ram you. That would be a very bad thing. So, but in this case, there's no wind and no tide. Everything's beautiful, and hopefully I'll switch the view back so you can see better. There we go. That looks better. So now I'm backing around, and you can see I'm coming around here. Now, as I'm coming around, I actually start taking up a little bit of wire here. There's two things I can do. I can drive ahead, or I can take up the wire. The problem with driving ahead is that the wire is going to be on that starboard rail, and I really want I want to twist to the left, and that would help out if I use that starboard engine. But that runs the risk of getting the wire in the wheel. Now, for those of you that know these boats, you'll know that unlike the boat that I was doing all the bunker work on, these 4200s, the older 4200s, are all what we call quart nozzle boats. So they have a massive nozzle around the propeller, and some people will say, oh, you're never going to get that wire in there, there's a quart nozzle around there. All of that's probably true, but there have been people that have got wire in the wheels of quart nozzle boats, and man, I don't want to be that guy. So if it just means that I have to pull in on the wire to tighten it up a little bit to get it over the rail, or if I just use the port engine and I'm not able to twist as much as I want, so be it. That's something I can live with. So now the balancing act continues, but now it's more balancing forces. I need to get out in front of it, and what I'm probably doing is telling my mate to start driving. Well, once I start getting in the right direction, I'll have him take over the steering, but I'll continue to work the throttles in the doghouse. And as I start seeing the bridle of the barge start to come up and the wire lifting more off the Texas bar, that means that there's going to be more and more strain on the wire. So I will take an engine out of gear and maybe pay out a little bit more. If it starts going down, I'll start slowing down the winch or maybe speeding up the engine. But there's two, it's a constant battle of wanting to get out the wire, but we really aren't moving. At this point, although I might be doing about a knot or two, the barge is probably doing less than a knot, because the barge is just sitting there, and the only pressure on the barge right now is the weight of the wire. And so, if all things being equal, you could just dump out all your wire and let it go on the ocean floor and hope that no damage would happen, that it wouldn't catch any coral or any rocks or anything, or a wreck or anything like that. And then as you came into the wire, it would lift off, and the weight of the wire would act more as a shock absorber. But that's a luxury that we don't really have, because I don't know what's underneath me, and I think that'd be probably a bad practice. So what we do to mitigate that is we let the wire out very slowly, and you'll notice my quick water is in and out there, and I'm doing that because I'm monitoring how much stress is on the wire. I want just enough stress so that I don't overspeed my winch, and just enough stretch on to keep the wire off the bottom as I pay out a couple lays. And a couple lays might be 800 to 1,000 feet. And this is looking forward of where we're going out now. That's just showing you the forward look, the forward camera there. That's the view that the mate will be having while I'm back in the doghouse looking backwards. Once again, it was a beautiful morning. But we know that just we're in the protected water. When we get outside here, it's going to be a different thing, and we'll probably be in about 6 to 8 feet of swell. Okay, so now the barge is getting strung out further and further behind me. And now as this happens, I'm able to start putting more and more pressure on the wire because I need to keep it off the bottom. And as that happens, that should start getting the barge underway. And as that's happening, it should also start meaning that the barge will start straightening out behind me. Now it still looks glassy calm right there, but remember, as soon as we get out of the protection of the bay here, we're going to be in a good, probably 4 to 6 feet of swell, maybe occasional 8s every once in a while. So we're putting out probably 2.5 layers here, and that will get us going out to the deeper water. Okay, now it looks like I'm putting both the engines in gear, and I'm applying more and more power to try to get the barge straight, and to try to get, once I get the barge moving, I can add more and more power to it. I don't really want to pull on the barge too much when it's pointed in the wrong direction. We want it to kind of take off in the straight direction, and that's really what it's doing. And now you can see my quick water is not where you can see from my quick water that I'm not bumping the engines in gear and out of gear anymore. But that's the way it is. We're getting underway. Everything's looking good. San Juan, here we come. You guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you like this video. This is as I'm recording this right now, I think this is about a week and a half that I've been down here, and I've done a whole bunch of recordings for you guys, and shot some more content for you. Hopefully you guys will like this sort of stuff, and hopefully I'll get better at doing it. As with anything, the more we do anything, the better we get at it. Hopefully, at least that's the hope at any rate. So hopefully I won't have to do all these voiceovers. Hopefully it'll be more like we do when the videos that you're used to from when I was in New York, where I could just talk and do the work at the same time. That's what I'm hoping for. But I thought it would be good for the first couple of these videos just to talk over and tell you why we do what we do and that sort of thing. But Puerto Rico's amazing. It's wonderful, beautiful down here. I wish it was always as calm as it is, but like I say, in just a few hours, we're getting beat up pretty good. And when I say beat up, it's not really beat up. It's just that in the trade winds, we basically go back and forth east and west, and the trade winds always blow from the east to the west. So when we're going with the trade winds, people say fair seas and following winds. Well, it's so much nicer when the wind's behind us and we're going with the waves. When we go into them, it's just a beat fest. Bang, 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 bang. But the good news is that the longest run we have, generally speaking, is probably about 36 hours. So the worst case scenario, even if it's very rough and uncomfortable, it's only a day and a half, and we can deal with that. It's not like going around Hatteras for a week of getting beat up. But anyway, I hope you liked the video, and hope that you guys hang with me. We got a lot to do. I want to show you the whole boat and all that sort of stuff. But thank you so much. Please think about subscribing if you haven't. And as always, be safe. I'll see you on the one.